Hi, everybody. I'm News 6 Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. We are live here in our Click-O studio where we are bringing you the very latest on now Helene. We officially have our name storm. We have had several hurricane hunters on different missions, really trying to dissect and figure out the health, the structure of what this storm is, which was potential Tropical Cyclone 9, but now we officially have a name. It is Tropical Storm Helene. That is what we are watching already this morning. It is Tuesday at 11. This is the latest advisory. It has sustained winds of 45 miles per hour, so it's not extremely strong right now, but what we were looking for and what we've been waiting for is for that defined center of circulation, and the National Hurricane Center and the hurricane hunters were able to finally identify it, find it, and locate it. So this is what we are watching. You can see the big blow-up of convection, mostly still on kind of the eastern side of the system, but as it progresses through the Yucatan Channel, that's that little zone of ocean between the Yucatan and western Cuba that is extremely warm. It's extremely primed and ready for tropical development to fuel that tropical development. So let's show you what's going on right now with the forecast cone. Again, it has sustained winds currently holding at 45 miles per hour. It's going to continue to move into that Yucatan Channel throughout the rest of today. Once it starts to emerge back out into the Gulf of Mexico, that's when it's expected to rage. We're talking about a Category 1 storm by 8 a.m. on Wednesday. But then look at the difference. That's 8 p.m. on Wednesday. It has about 90 mile per hour sustained winds. But between Wednesday at 8 p.m. and Thursday at 8 a.m., that's about 12 hours, we could see basically the bottom kind of drop out from the system, and we will see rapid intensification where we go from a Category 1 to a Category 3 storm by early Thursday morning. So we could add almost 25 miles per hour on top of that Category 1 storm, making it a major storm as it approaches the Big Bend. Now, the forecast cone has shifted a little further to the west. So for us here in Central Florida, that's good news. We'll take that as a step in the right direction for us impact-wise. Unfortunately, though, it's still expected to not only intensify and strengthen, but also grow and widen in size. So the wind radii, how far the tropical storm force winds, how far the hurricane force winds will extend, will increase over the next couple of days. And that is where here in Central Florida, we could see kind of the outskirts of those impacts. So let's bring it back here at home. Clouds and rain forecast. Tuesday, we are dry. Wednesday, that's when we will start to see some of that tropical moisture starting to wrap around. Again, this system is still several miles offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. We're nowhere near landfall just yet, but when we talk about the size of this storm, we could start feeling some sort of impacts, although they might not be crazy tropical storm or hurricane force winds. We are going to be tapping into some of that tropical moisture streaming in from the south Wednesday evening. Then we'll have a little bit of a lull, a feeder band potentially just offshore or clipping the coastline early Thursday morning around 2 a.m. and then really starting to wrap around more of those scattered showers and thunderstorms by about 6. And again, as you can see, the worst of the weather will be on Thursday. Squally weather. Squally weather means kind of off and on rain. But when it does rain, it rains very heavy. We have those tropical downpours. We get those winds whipping up with those squall lines. And the other concern with these squall lines is that we're going to be on the right side of that storm. You can see there on your far left side of the screen there. That is the center of what could be a major hurricane, Hurricane Helene by that point. We will have that right dirty side of that storm here in Central Florida, which tends to spark those fast-moving tropical spin-ups, which sometimes come in the way of tornadoes. So even though we are still talking about this system still many miles, making landfall many miles away, here in Central Florida, we will have some sort of impact. But this is certainly not going to be, as of right now, a big Central Florida concern, but certainly a concern for the Big Bend and the Panhandle. Did not update this. I jumped on here real quick, but again, this is now Tropical Storm Helene. You can see the forecast model still not as close as what we would like. But of course, as we continue to get that hurricane hunter data in, putting them into those computer models, hopefully we will get a better idea of those computer models coming a bit closer together. So again, that's not PTC number 9 anymore. The latest update just about 10-15 minutes ago, we have now Tropical Storm Helene expected to become a major hurricane in the Gulf. Exact landfall location and the intensity continues to fluctuate a little bit, but many of the models are really leaning into the fact that we could have some rapid intensification happening Wednesday and into Thursday as that system moves over what we call the loop currents. It's an extremely warm ocean current that feeds in from the Caribbean into the Gulf and actually starts up the Gulf Stream, up the eastern seaboard. So when we talk about systems going over a very juiced up loop current, I know that sounds very dorky, but at the end of the day, that is what will fuel the system to become the monster storm that it is expected to become. So watches and warnings. Given the fact that this storm is still going to be hundreds of miles away making landfall, here in Central Florida, there are watches already in effect. Watches mean that conditions can be expected, could be possible within the next 48 hours. So we do have a tropical storm watch in effect. This includes you guys in Marion, Lake Sumter, Seminole, Orange, and Osceola County. This does not include any of our coastal communities as of yet. Again, as of yet, we'll have to wait and see. But we do have a hurricane watch that is in effect for the only county in our viewing area here in Central Florida will be Western Marion County, and of course up and down the Gulf Coast, that of course under hurricane watches. This graphic is actually updated according to the latest forecast cone. So within the next couple of days, we're talking about a 30 to 50% chance of seeing tropical storm force wind gusts. That means wind gusts of excess of 35 to 40 miles per hour or stronger. Of course, the main path of the strongest winds will still stay offshore. We are still talking about the possibility of kind of just not blustery, but squally weather in the forecast. I showed you the clouds and rain forecast with some of those heavier downpours and those squall lines. If we do get rain continuing to kind of feed over the same area for quite some time, we could rack up a lot of rain. Here in Central Florida, we've seen a lot of rain already in the last several weeks, so our grounds are still very saturated. It doesn't take much for us to be able to rack up a lot of rain, so the flooding potential will also be in the forecast. So we do have an excessive rainfall. Overall, right now, it's a marginal risk, basically cut down the middle of Central Florida. So the eastern side is under about a level 1, where Lake Sumter, Marion County will remain under level 2 for excessive rainfall. So let me quickly show you here. We are watching for the tropics. Again, the worst of the day will be Thursday. Is this going to be a day where everyone needs to stay inside and no one should be traveling on the roadways? I don't see that happening. The big question will be if schools are still going to be going on, whether or not school buses are able to drive. That's always a big question that we obviously have to wait and see from schools and from the county. But here in Central Florida, again, squally weather, tropical downpours, not the best day on Thursday. We're going to keep some of that tropical moisture in place as well into your Friday as well. But as of now, we do have watches. We do need to heed those watches. So if you want to continue to update yourself, our next update, by the way, will be at 5 for the next forecast cone. If you're looking for latest stats, those come out at 2 o'clock. But nonetheless, here on clickorlando.com, our Pinpoint Weather app, what else are we? We're on air, online. We're on social media as well. So wherever you need us, we will be there updating you with anything you need to know here around the clock when it comes to Tropical Storm Helene, which could, again, still become Major Hurricane Helene in just about 24 hours. So we'll see you then. Again, the next update here on YouTube and clickorlando.com will be 2 p.m. with meteorologist Julie Broughton.